This clip is from The Buckle Bomb Show. New episodes drop every Sunday at youtube.com/bombmediaproductions. We will move on to the main event of the night, an Owen Hart men's tournament quarterfinals match. Darby Allin with Sting versus Jeff Hardy with Matt Hardy. It was declared an anything goes match in the tournament. A little weird, but okay for these two competitors, I guess. We'll see. This match was insane. This match was way too much, especially that ridiculous, stupid fucking dive or jump, the swanton from the top of that tall ladder in the ring onto Jeff Hardy on a bunch of chairs. That could have killed Darby Allin right there on TV. There was no reason for that. None whatsoever. I know that's kind of Darby Allin's gimmick, and you've got this Darby Allin. It's Darby Allin and Jeff Hardy, and they're the Daredevils. That was unnecessary, and it looked. It did not look good. Luckily, it seemed Darby was all right. You know, Jeff Hardy had to jump up and catch him. You know, and they kind of hid that. They didn't show it, you know, like they normally would. Jeff Hardy had to jump up and catch him, and then they both landed on the chairs together. It was not safe. That's just unnecessary. You don't need that in wrestling. I'm sorry. And then, you know, Jeff Hardy later on. And this one was a little bit better. Jeff Hardy doing the swanton with Darby Allin on the steel steps that were sideways. And Darby Allin would get out of the way, and Jeff Hardy would land flat on the steel steps. This was a little better because the steel steps aren't solid on their side like that, and it had a little bit of give, at least on the back end, for Jeff Hardy's back. And as long as he had his chin tucked, his head wouldn't hit the more solid part of the stairs. But it still was if you're off just by an inch or two, that could be dangerous too. And especially for a guy who we know has a bad back. What'd you think of all this garbage? It was It was just a fucking spot fest. There was no story to this match. Go ahead.
Are you done yelling at the clouds now, old man? All right. So going back to what I said when we were talking about SmackDown, I felt like that one spot in particular was too much for a throwaway television match. It's just leading to an angle that people are over. Now, make no mistake, because I know I'm going to sound like a hypocrite with this. There is a difference between WWE and AEW, and I have never denied this one time talking about it. And the difference is WWE is a professional sports entertainment business. AEW, and I will never not think this until there are some other things that happen within the company that will change my mind. All AEW is an independent wrestling business that has a bigger budget and a television deal. You have people who are trained to do things way better in WWE than what AEW does. With that said, this match was right on the money for everything that you would hope the first match between Darby Allin and Jeff Hardy would be. And like it or not, if you thought that match with what Darby Allin was doing to himself was cringy, then I invite you by all means, it's on YouTube. Go back and watch his work in Pro Wrestling Guerrilla and countless other independent promotions across the country where he put himself in spots that were way more dangerous than that. And that's speaking from being in a position where they weren't running big buildings. I'm sure they didn't have to have permits the way AEW does. And if a talent wants to put themselves in that position, because we know nobody in the back in AEW is asking Darby Allin to do this bullshit. This is just
Darby. They should be stopping him. And Jeff, he's got the experience. He should be stepping up and say, hey, we don't need to go that far. I'm sorry. But this, first off, this wasn't even a match. It was just a big spot, and then some garbage in between while they're setting up stuff for the next spot. There was no story. There was no layout for this match. It was just spot, high spot, high spot, high spot, finish.
I gotta disagree with you, buddy. There was
and then at the end, no, there was no story to this match.
Yes, there is, because this is the style of wrestling that you would expect from Darby Allin and Jeff Hardy, and it's one of those what ifs that ever since Darby Allin came on the scene.
You can still have an exciting match full of high spots, telling an appropriate story without the bullshit, unnecessary danger that they put themselves in. And
all right, now hold on. I gave you time to finish for you to yell at the clouds and so on. Just let me finish my side of this, all right?
Mm-hmm.
This was exactly what you would expect out of a Jeff Hardy versus Darby Allin match, where there are a lot of ridiculously unnecessary, risky spots. Absolutely. Not going to disagree with you on that.
Mm-hmm.
But like I was saying beforehand, nobody's asking Darby Allin to do this bullshit. And if you're a company, you're about your money and you're about your revenue. We've learned that from
see what WWE. Happens to that money when Darby Allin dies live on TV, sure. Or breaks his back on TV.
Hey, what's the name of this tournament again? Now, whatever happened to WWE with that happening?
No, look.
Not a damn thing. The point is if Darby Allin was to put himself in these positions and it's going to make the company money from a business perspective, go for it. Nobody's asking Darby to do this shit. I mean, and look, that's the beautiful part about professional wrestling. It's all different kinds. It's subjective. There's things that I love that you hate. There's things that you love that I hate. Probably. I don't know. The thing is, at the end of the day, though, the argument being made is so counterintuitive based off of who the namesake of the tournament is after. And I know that sounds cold and callous, but let's face it. If WWE didn't face any shit for doing what we know they should have never done by getting a Caribbeaner to hook up to Owen Hart that was not rated for somebody of his size and forcing him off the railing like that to do an entrance for a throwaway fucking gimmick that nobody was going to give two shits about after they made him Owen Hart again in another 6 months. Why is that any different than letting Darby Allin go out there and do the style that put him on the map and got him a job with AEW to begin with?
It's not. It shouldn't be done. We agree. Congratulations.
Now, how do we disagree?
It shouldn't be done. They shouldn't be allowing this. And AEW should stop him. Like, they should step in and say, hey, this is too much. If it's Darby Allin, if it's Jeff Hardy pushing it, you know? And Jeff Hardy has a history of getting out to a ring and doing things, maybe in states he shouldn't be in, when he shouldn't be allowed to do that. You know, TNA, we all know about a match with the guy who was across the ring from him here in 2011 that he should have never even been allowed to go out. He should have never even been allowed to go out to the ring. The same thing should happen here. There's no way you go out to the ring with that spot in mind. None.
No, there's a huge difference. There is a huge difference with that.
No, you're right. You're right.
All right.
He
was completely sober,
for sure.
To our knowledge. Again, I'm not Jeff Hardy.
Sure.
I don't know what he did that night, but he was sober going into this. Jeff Hardy was intoxicated, and he was a risk to himself, not only himself, but a 50-some-year-old Sting.
And to be fair, it's not like he was out in front of people being, you know, he just made his way to the ring at the right time, and nobody realized it until he was already out. But
which that was one of the biggest downfalls of TNA. That should have never been allowed to happen, and it's disgusting that they ever let that get on television.
Yeah, I'll concede that point. That was not a good comparison, but just for Darby Allin's safety and his future, you don't. My thing is, you do not need this. Yes, I understand the expectations of the Daredevils in the ring, but this was just a step too far. You don't need to do this no matter what the expectation is. You can still have an excellent match. You can still do some amazing stuff and high-flying and risky stuff without actually having risk like this had. I'm sorry.